I just think that we have a different team culture, 2 new players, a new addition to the coaching staff. What we had last year kind of backfired. When it was getting stressful and tense moments, it was backfiring pretty badly.
Environment became very bad because people were feeling the pressure, and it's not like we were choking on stage, it's just that the scrims were rough and just overall we had a rough time.
There is no one left standing in Rogue's way, and Fnatic have gone through the gauntlet and will make the way back to the final.
Going through these hard times make like the good times way better, so that's what I'm enjoying right now. If I get to lift the trophy, it will be feeling way better than 1 year ago.
Rogue, with this win, solidify themselves as the best team in the LEC. The gold will be locked in, but not in time. Destiny out!
He's got away! The auto-attack got, but here comes the Sjokz rocket!
This year is different. It's a completely different lineup. It's a completely new team. This doesn't look like the playstyle you play in regular split will be worse in playoffs. It's like it's just best of ones in a best of 5. It's like the same game. Nothing changes. It's just the same game.
I'm not sure if you can gauge from an outside perspective how good a team will be on best of 5, because it's like you can only look on paper, you know?
I don't care if people underestimate us. That's very nice for us. We just need to play our best and then we will see what happens.
On paper, people said that Rogue was going to be bad. There's like teams like Vitality, G2, Fnatic. They have star power in their roster. They have multiple threats. So I guess that's why maybe teams like Misfits are not really particularly scary.
Larssen's going to be able to flash away, but Shlatan still on the chase. There's the knock-up, and Larssen, no escape for him. Shlatan first blood.
I would definitely like to go up against Misfits in the first round. I think they had a very strong split, but it's also like not really true to their strength. I don't think they're as strong as they've shown.
And to 150 HP, Neon's so low as well, and Trymbi will secure that one. Comp opens up the big guns.
The fact that they don't have a lot of threats inside that team, that's the thing that kind of makes me not so concerned about playing Misfits, just because there is one guy you need to look out for, and that's Vetheo.
Vetheo needs to jump away, needs to flash away, needs to get away from this fight, needs to survive with the Baron, but he just can't do, he dies!
And my motivation is to finally win. Second of all is the enjoyment of the competition.
Rogue will be your #1 team in the regular season.
I'm pretty confident going to playoffs. I think there are also other strong teams, but I'm definitely confident that we can beat them all. So it will be fun times.
Pretty fun right now, at least. They're having fun.
And Rogue. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. What they've gone through with this roster already, and the fact that they're now on match point, and also Guldborg, the fact that they look back on the drama that was summer, let's say, right? And also spring, probably, and say, well, no, now we are not afraid, and we're going to do as good as we can do with this roster.
Yeah, but it comes down to 2 factors. One thing is the fact that they just mentioned themselves in the video. It's the inherent play style of the team itself that is very different, and as they said, they're not going to mess it up coming into best of 5s that Larssen was mentioning. They'll be able to replicate it, which so far we have seen. The other factor is the fact that Rogue has a completely different atmosphere. Loads of time have we heard the members say that it feels way better now. I think they haven't been truly tested yet though, in terms of this team atmosphere, because I'll have to see them lose before I really want to see them pull themselves back together.
I do hear a slight echo. I just want to signal that to production. In any case, picks and bans. Misfits, they went for the blue side. Of course, they were up against it. They lost that first game. How much value do you think out of this draft they got with the blue side?
Well, I think red side gives you a lot more flexibility with some things, of course, getting that last counter pick, but I feel like actually Misfits are looking for their power picks, right? They're looking for certain champions which have nameplate value for them. I look at particularly Shlatan's Lee Sin. I look at actually Mersa's Nautilus is not a bad one on that list as well. So I think blue side gives them a lot of value to get those champions. We can see how it did affect some parts of the way they played out the game, particularly the early game, which I'd asked for them earlier. That helps them have more tools to fight around that.
But it's 2 things. It's the fact that I think blue side could have been changed a little bit. You could have gone for support earlier, so you didn't show the identity, because Rogue showed a lot of flexibility in this draft, because you showed your AD carry and your mid laner, who's already the 2 carries of Misfits, Neon and Vetheo. Well, if you know how to shut them down, well, then you'll just win the game, and that's what they did. They drafted outrange. They drafted champions that Vetheo and Neon could not interact with. And when your carries can't interact with the enemy team, what are you left to do?
And I think the takeaway there is then And also, wow, this is great from Rogue when we look at they played 2 different drafts in 2 different games, and they didn't come in with a game plan of something they wanted to do. They were completely reactive in shutting the enemy down.
It's difficult because I'm not sure if this is because Rogue is super good or if it's because Misfits is not completely playing to their win conditions. Because up towards top side, HiRit should win against this Jayce, but the thing is, you used a lot of your attention bot side.
That didn't happen.
No, exactly. And by default, Nautilus wins versus Rakan, so you should be able to roam. You have the roam first. I feel like you could have brought the battle elsewhere than where Misfits decided to take them in this game.
Nymaera, I know that you had your eye especially on the early game. We did as well, and you wanted to look at this crap fight.
Yeah, there were a couple of plays which happened towards the bot side, actually, which... It's part of what we asked for, and it's part of what the draft didn't ask for, because we saw this lot elongated clip where we saw the Scuttlecrab steal coming in from the least, and you think, okay, cool, you're starting to bully out the volley bear, putting your real mark on this map and say, look, we can enable this bot side, maybe you can then free up the Nautilus to go elsewhere. And I do like the fact that Shlatan and Mersa are getting involved. I just don't know if it's getting involved in quite the right way. They are forcing very hard. They did find 1 kill here. They went a little too far afterwards. You see, that's where it's not quite refined enough to get them the real big wins.
And also, when we look at this game and we look at what we talked about beforehand as the possible win conditions, yes, we know that the bot lane for Misfits can be strong. Neon later into the game can do a lot of damage. But where is this MVP on many people's lips? Vetheo, and where is the guy that brought them to so many victories? And where is Misfits possibly enabling him to succeed?
Well, the thing is, this could have been a different game where you tried to enable more in mid lane, where you had pick potential, where you moved your bot priority into the mid lane instead. And I think it comes down to where you're allocating your resources. I don't necessarily think Vetheo is having a bad game this series at all. I think he's doing what he's supposed to do on the champions he's picked on. I just think that Misfits are having different ideas that they might have had, where they're trying to play more towards fundamentals. It's just not working. The clutch factor we're used to seeing from Misfits, it just haven't been there.
Not there.
And I feel this kind of goes back to one of the very first things we were talking about with Misfits at the top of the day, which is saying you actually have to give Vetheo a champion which succeeds into the entire enemy composition, not just into a lane, not just in terms of like playing for a comp on yourself. You have to see something like the Akali or the Silas being able to deal with enemy dives, or rather being able to dive into the enemy team. And we're just not seeing Vetheo get that early agency and be able to really take things into his own hands. He's having to deal with too much, and he hasn't really got the tools to do it right now.
Yeah, it's really difficult for him at this point in time because Rogue is playing it so well. And I do want to also highlight the top side of Rogue. Odo and Malrang, they did make it to the first all-pro team, but they are doing damage in this series. And Malrang just seems to pick not necessarily what is OP into his opponent, but just what will work for what they want to do.
And I think this has been something we've seen a little bit from Malrang across the entire split. I think that Malrang, however, in this game has just had a better read on how he wants to play the map.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we were talking behind the scene. You're already ready to say, Odo, play of the series just from the first 2 games.
No spoilers, dude.
Hey, I'm not saying spoilers. I'm just saying what we're talking about. I'm putting into perspective the situation we're in. Odo has played a phenomenal game, and I think he's so used to being the weak side. This time around, we're seeing him take charge. We see him on the Rumble. We see him on the Jayce. That's suddenly putting Misfits in their place. And as you said, Malrang, great reads on Shlatan.
And it's great that Rogue also is showing that to us, right? Because they didn't always prioritize Odoamne also in the regular season, but they can, and they do. And now they are showing us kind of different looks. And they're looking unstoppable for now, which making it really difficult for Misfits.
This is kind of quite pointed in its own way, because Odo's been speaking so much recently about, top is actually a good role. I wish people would trust me to believe that top lane is good. Only G2 are playing towards that, and you look at this series' first 2 games, blam, he is hammering these advantages home.
Right, Rogue is on track. The #1 team from the regular season should not stumble here, but they could. The question is, can Misfits make them stumble? They have picked blue side once again. Nymaera, you were the only one of the analysts who voted for Misfits. How do they win this next game?
Okay, so gonna preface this, and I think that is really important.
He set it up for the reverse sweep.
Yes.
I did think that game 1 was going to be really important. Obviously, they haven't got that, but if they are going to win from this point, you need to make sure that HiRit isn't just bleeding out advantages on top side. They need to stabilize that area, and as we said already, Vetheo really needs to get some way to impact things earlier, not have to kind of play from such a large deficit.
Yeah, I just got the note that we have a delay on stage and we have to stall.
We get to talk more.
It was so perfect. We timed it perfectly. But I think this is great because Guldborg can probably have a couple of things to add to those win conditions.
Yeah, give me that right now, because I think the way you placed it into draft as well here, where Vetheo was forced to just blind the Syndra, you couldn't interact with the enemy just because of the range that we also had at the same time. It doesn't really work out. I think you need to remember what you're trying to do. You could have just drafted the engage option options with the support, sack that a little bit. Yeah, you can give the count on 3 over to Trymbi, but honestly, he's does well with it either way. You can't play to what you're losing at. You need to play on your winning side instead.
Let's see what happens. I think we're ready, and it's match point for Rogue as they are looking to take down Misfits in convincing fashion. Medic and crew, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. This is my crew. What professions do you have? Okay, Vedi, no. No. I know you did the whole rap battles thing. Don't.
What is he doing?
With the crew. With the boys.
Oh, you're going to bust some lines out. Oh.
Okay,
well, actually, both of you are professional singers, aren't you?
I mean, Vedi's a professional singer. I'm a
not a
professional
professional singer. Okay?
Did you get paid for singing?
No. I paid to sing, actually.
Oh, okay, well then, so maybe not a professional singer.
Exposed. Talented men, though.
Yeah, very talented.
Oh, that's so kind.
Very
Caedrel.
talented.
No, you're talented.
Caster, host, singer, Vedius.
Caedrel. Listen, I wish I could be a streamer, though, because I'm not a streamer.
You were streaming some Elden Ring,
No,
though,
I'm not a streamer. I'm not a streamer. Listen,
okay, guys.
It's not about
Misfits
us.
versus
okay?
Rogue is about to
It's not about
start.
us. It's about Misfits versus Rogue. Misfits, they're finally, they're on their last legs, is what I meant to say. I did not mean to throw them under the bus like that. Sorry, Misfits. And they will be on the blue side once more. So it seems they're going to be consistent with their mid lane bans. They will remove the Twisted Fate. It looks like they may very well remove the Victor once again, or are they in fact going to leave it open? Nope, they're going to stick with their tried and true bans. So far, they're not going to change anything up.
It's quite odd to me. I mean, they're just trying to shut down Larssen's champion pool, but what is Victor when his ear's open, right? I mean, it does a similar job. Yes, Victor can be a little bit more oppressive in lane phase, perhaps, in certain matchups, but still going to do the exact same bans. I mean, I expect Misfits to just first pick Lee Sin again as well.
No, I think Aphelios is the first pick this time around. I think that the game plan will actually be to try and limit Comp's impact. Obviously, he's been very solid throughout the series, but when we look at what Neon has played so far this split, Jinx, Aphelios are actually 2 of his most played. Of course, he did play the Xayah last game and did have a good job. Oh, never mind, he's just going to insta-lock Lee Sin. Never mind.
I saw you looking at the stats there, and I was like, Vedi. But maybe Rogue just run it back. I mean, it doesn't hurt to go Aphelios Volibear. Worked out. Yes, you were kind of juggling lanes, but that's Malrang's speciality, reading the map, and he's done it so fantastically well. I think Misfits are going to swap it up on 2-3. I think here they're probably going to go for some LeBlanc AD pick here instead of the Syndra. Maybe LeBlanc and Jayce as well. Just go full topside, because we saw topside was kind of hindered by this Jayce third pick with bans. Here it didn't look so comfortable. Yes, Camille's one of his best champs, but they weren't really playing too much. So I think something like LeBlanc, Jayce here on 2-3 could do Misfits pretty well.
LeBlanc also typically does very well into a Xayah, right? It's something that was often used as a counter pick when a Xayah was very prominent in the meta. But we may actually see some change up here.
So Rogue read it. I think Rogue are trying to think a step ahead here, and they're like, hang on a second. If they go Lee Sin and they go LeBlanc Jayce on 2-3, we have to match mid or top on 3. So let's just pre-pick the Jayce on red side and stop them from being able to get a strong top side. I think Misfits will do the same thing. I think something like Galio Camille here could do pretty well and slam that in.
And if Misfits lock in mid here, so if they go for something like the LeBlanc once again, or sorry, if they go for the LeBlanc rather, then Rogue actually have way more options as well. They can leave their jungle pick for later, maybe even lock in something like a Lissandra now to get themselves a strong matchup, and then save their jungle pick for later.
They were hovering the Camille, and they realized, I think Rogue read them like a book in this draft. I think they wanted to go Camille, LeBlanc, Galio, Camille, something like this, but they're just going to pick the Xayah this time around.
Rogue is so galaxy brain. That's what they keep showing us throughout this series. The question is, how will they now answer? Will they try to get themselves...
Lissandra.
Yeah, I mean, I know you love Lissandra. I think it's a great pick into the LeBlanc as well. Oh, but they're actually going to provide a little bit more lockdown and deny that bot lane option.
Nautilus mid into the LeBlanc.
Doinby. I know, I think Vedius said it. Lockdown, it's the key word. Nautilus is a fantastic pick into the LeBlanc. The second she dashes forwards with W, you ult her the second she shows and you just chase her down. Works similar to Camille. You can't really escape Camille or Nautilus ult. That's why they're pre-picking it into LeBlanc, of course. And now the bans are coming in. Rogue and deny supports. Expecting Misfits to maybe target mid again. Rise taken away. Could look for some kind of maybe Galio pick for the side of Rogue. Maybe a Lissandra. Vex could be a pretty good ban as well against LeBlanc and Lee Sin.
Larssen. So far, this split, he's shown not the same level of depth in terms of his pool as Vetheo has, but he still has a good number of options. He may even consider just going for Orianna. While not the best matchup, given his comfort on the champion, he can try and leverage some of the very early laning power. Perhaps he does have a lot of options at his disposal.
What about a Diana on 4 into some kind of Zed mid or a Yasuo, some kind of explosive jungle?
I mean, it would be amazing, but they don't need to do it.
Exactly.
Why show anything here when you've been beating Misfits pretty convincingly the last 2 games?
Surely they ban maybe Volibear here is just the best throw ban, because I mean they have Vex, they have Lissandra. There's no really another mid you can ban. Poppy, yeah, makes sense for jungle as well. Some kind of jungle ban is great here. Would have been pretty dangerous into the LeBlanc Lee Sin. maybe we'll just see the Volibear run back here from Malrang, but he's got quite a few champions he can choose from.
Looks like he's going to go towards that Jarvan in the jungle. Gives you that dive potential. Of course, the Volibear an option, as you say, but the Jarvan still allows you to get to that back line.
That's a very weird pick to pick into LeBlanc. Yeah, Larssen wins out. If they go Xayah Rakan here as well, I'm a bit scared for what the Jarvan can actually do this game. Tom Kench would work as well to help the Xayah. But yeah, Xayah, they have so much mobility. This Jarvan pick might not get a lot of value, especially if they last pick Camille here as well, or Gnar or something. This Jarvan is going to really struggle.
Maybe they were just really concerned about their limited engage. I mean, last game we saw a Rakan come out from Trymbi, and he was able to start off a lot of those fights. But yeah, in terms of that comp, when you're looking at Jarvan, you're going to struggle to lock anyone down. Maybe if Xayah doesn't have a flash, you can lock her down.
Kai'Sa mid!
Okay!
Yes! Love it, love it, love it. AP Kai'Sa mid with W evolve into poke with Jayce next to her. A lot of poke. But still, as a jungle connoisseur myself, as a Jarvan connoisseur myself, playing against this draft, I would not want to play. I would just build full tank, go GA first item and just die on purpose. I don't know really what to do. I mean, Xayah is probably your best option to look at. But yeah, I think he's just going to have to juggle lanes again or play for bot 3v3.
Definitely makes sense. It's going to be a difficult game for Malrang, but he's already shown us this series and this year how strong he can be at reading the map, at counter-ganking, at finding his opportunities. And Rogue so far today have shown us just that they are a cut above Misfits. It is on Misfits to fight back this game. It is on Misfits to not fall so far behind, but or even if they do, to find those opportunities to bounce back in the game. It's something they did so often in Spring, and we have yet to see that spark, that catalyst that so often came from the mid lane, from Vetheo, who has been nullified entirely by Rogue today.
This is another draft where we need to see that investment in the mid lane for Misfits. The fact that they're running Larssen, LeBlanc is just... It is a tried and true mid-jungle duo. It is very much about enabling your mid laner, and it is very much against a Kai'Sa, like, LeBlanc loves killing AD carries, right? Like,
a lot of kill pressure.
So I feel like that we need to see that attack in the mid lane.
Now just getting ready to get on into what could be our final game of the day. Rogue versus Misfits.
Hey everyone, before we load onto the game, I have Freddy with me, obviously, to ask about Kai'Sa mid, because we know it's a champion we've been seeing in other leagues, especially in the LCK. Why did you decide to play this champion, especially in this draft? And what can we expect from Larssen on this champion?
Yeah, we've been trialing it in scrims a bit, and I think into certain matchups it's very good. And once it hits a few items, it's actually insane poke champ. So I mean, it fit with what we already drafted. So yeah, we just lock it and see how it goes.
All right, I will see how it goes and how Larssen can be impactful on the champion. But casters, back to you for the game.
Thank you very much, Law. Kai'Sa mid is something we have seen a little bit. Of course, most people will know FLICKR for it. We played it for T1. But before that, it was played by enemies for BTXL. NMS?
MNS? I think MNS is the way you say it.
Plays for your team, I think. So you know how to pronounce it. Be honest,
he plays for your team.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Don't expose me.
But it's also JDXO now, I think.
Yeah, it is. But he was the first to play it, I believe, in the world, and I think he picked it into Corki. He picked it in the Corki meta, and what he did was he ran Kai'Sa with Halo Blades Ignite, and he actually dove the Corki on the second wave and got a kill and lived. So that's when the power of the champion started to come to fruition.
And yeah. So let's have a look at what's going on in terms of this early game setup.
Hook. Ooh, cancelled his W. He's going to look for the hook as well.
Hook comes out, Ignite going, taking away the Guardian there as well. Heal used by Comp just to keep Trymbi a bit healthier. Get the extra movement speed, but Mersa and Neon will be able to walk away.
So just a bit of back and forth trading towards the bot side of the map. We've been seeing it pretty consistently throughout the day. The heal was used from Comp, which means that Misfits do have a slight summon spell advantage, but nothing too dramatic. Vetheo having the push in mid, Odoamne doing the same up in top, whereas bot lane there is a lot of contesters. Right now, both junglers are pathing towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, they definitely are. Of course, Larssen will win out in that 1v1. Vetheo stacking some kind of mid-wave here into Larssen. Larssen doesn't really want to push this lane because he'll be very exposed to jungle ganks. And if there's any game that Vetheo and Shlatan need to show up as together as a mid-jungle duo, it's this one, because they have two sides that they can play for. Two of them can get push or have kill pressure if they need to pull the trigger. and they need to make sure they get vision on one side or play for some kind of side lane this game.
It has been a very difficult series for Vetheo, and we talk about him so much. He was first All-Pro mid laner in the regular season in the LEC, and we just haven't seen that spark of ingenuity, that spark of invention from him. It's his second playoffs here in Europe, and last year he was the rising star, he was the up-and-comer. This year he has been predominantly where Misfits have put their focus. As we see here, chased away by Odoamne, but as one of the more experienced players on the team, you would have wanted a little bit more from Vetheo. I'm not saying he's underperforming, I'm just saying as a team, Misfits are struggling to unleash him, and perhaps it's because they don't have that much experience at this stage of a competition.
And I think it's worth highlighting as well, as we speak about Vetheo, he is making his way towards the bot side of the map. This is exactly what we were looking for. Here comes the dive.
Looking for it, Comp no heal, remember, from that initial play. Vetheo stepping forward, he's rooted, Feathers pulled back, but Comp and Trymbi just able to walk out of that one.
Such a great chain CC there from Rogue's bot lane. Trymbi auto-attacks Mersa, stops the W, Qs him, stops the W, Comp puts the root gun down, stops the W. Mersa can't engage, so by that time the wave's already dying, they've taken a lot of damage and they're forced to back, so now here comes Rogue's cross-map play. HiRit is quite healthy though.
TP used to the mid lane, HiRit gets to level 4. Malrang trying to do what he can, tanks up the tower and then just DQs out. It's like, okay, I'm going to put this red buff on you. Odoamne chased out as well, and the first strike, as you say, Caedrel, will give Malrang that little bit of gold.
Jarvan walks the lane, slaps you in the face, refuses to elaborate, leaves.
Kick a cat.
The castle gates will remain closed.
And he gets some gold while he does it. We'll clear out his Krugs and expect him to base. Shlatan doing the same thing, staying over. Looks like he's going to go for his Raptor respawn instead of going for the base for now. Larssen, everyone basically basing right now and TPing back to lane.
And what I will say for Larssen is, I was going to say, that was a great position for him, potentially not to have to use his TP, but he chooses to use it anyway. But the fact that Vetheo went for that roam meant that Larssen could push the wave underneath the tower, get a base off, and then come back to lane. The early laning phase is where this Xayah is at its most risky. But Vetheo says, I don't care about the mid lane, I'm going to keep attacking these side lanes. But look at Trymbi, he's here for the play. Malrang once again ready to cover.
Both the supports up on this top side. Vetheo here with a level advantage, level 5. On the LeBlanc, Malrang waiting around the corner. HiRit knockback's going to try and dash away, shielded up. The Guardian will keep him alive. Vetheo puts the chains down onto Malrang, and everyone will walk out.
Both junglers went to their Krugs, but Shlatan decided to base, but Malrang backtracked to top. He saw the stacking wave, wanted to cover it. Trymbi was on the way as well, and they knew Vetheo had a mid-wave to play on, so they're just covering any kind of dive. Maybe they could have looked for a kill there if Malrang landed some kind of EQ flash combo, but now Misfits are on the offensive.
Trymbi spots them, blast cone there, they can knock him back, He flashes to it, but he hits the root. Across the wall will come Mersa. Doesn't have the most damage on Rakan. A little bit of a wet noodle slap there to Trymbi's back. Forces him back under the tower.
I think Shlatan kind of underestimated how long the knockup would last because he queued as Trymbi got away. So maybe if he queued a little bit earlier, he would have been able to follow through onto Trymbi. We'll take away Raptors. Malrang knows this. Good sweeper from Mersa.
HiRit's just gone in.
HiRit
has to flash away.
Wow. Odoamne has literally in his career never seen this much jungle support attention. They are covering for him so much. And I mean, it was something you talked at length about, Caedrel. Misfits have very strong side lanes that they're going to look to play around later on into the game. And one thing that they can leverage is the ability for this LeBlanc to roam around the map. And once again, we're seeing Rogue read that. They are doing everything in their power to mitigate Misfits' onslaught up towards topside. And they're doing the best to keep Odoamne alive. Let's not forget, at the World Championship, it was Odoamne that was falling short. He wasn't getting much support towards the top side of the map. He was getting solo killed towards top side, and it seems that Rogue as a team is evolving to be like, hey, we need to cover our top laner more often, and they're doing a great job in this early game.
Yeah, Khan's Jax, Monka W, but yeah, I mean, it's Misfits on the offensive once again. Rogue just juggling, and the person paying the price here is Malrang. He's down in creeps, he's not been farming as much, he's down in XP, but the cost of that, the cost value is to make sure Odoamne is at least stable in this top side matchup, which is so explosive and determines who gets side lane push later on. So he's giving himself up, losing his blue now, lost his wolves, lost his gromp. He's giving up so many camps to juggle these lanes. He might be in trouble though.
Really nice side step there by Mersa. Malrang's going to have to flash away. Trymbi's on his way as well. Larssen has the blast code to get in here if he wants. Already level 7. Malrang low. Shlatan tries to smite, but the hook's going to connect, and now the chase is on. Mersa locked up. Trymbi will fall. Neon and Vetheo walk away. Blue buff secured by Malrang.
Looks like it's a winning play for Rogue. Misfits again on the offensive. They lose 2 members though, trying to make this invade happen despite Malrang being down in experience. And Rogue are there once again to answer. Larssen's midwave was pushing out. He gave up quite a couple creeps there to make sure he was there first. And Vetheo didn't end up getting a kill on the back half of that. But yeah, again, Rogue just juggling the map.
So in this situation, Misfits have the push in bot. Xayah knows that she can rotate first, and Malrang honestly overcommits. Forced to use his flash to avoid the knockup, but then the rest of Rogue is there to offer support. No TPs available from either side of the top laner, but that doesn't matter because Rogue say, hey, we can just focus you one at a time. Vetheo knows that he's able to get a return pick, but he was very delayed in terms of his involvement, and Caedrel, you identified it. Larssen sacrificing that awkward wave state to be able to join with his team soon earlier gave Rogue the numbers advantage.
Yeah, and Rogue didn't overcommit there. The second two people died, they didn't chase onto Neon to get his flash or force Vetheo out. There's a lot of feathers behind them. They knew they won the fight. They knew they got the blue. Let's back off. We don't really want to force anything. We just want to slow this game down, stop this Lee and LeBlanc from being able to make plays around the map, and get to the mid game even. And if ahead, then fantastic.
I'm going to take a moment while we have a brief lull in the action, just to talk a little bit about this Kai'Sa mid, because we mentioned, you know, it has been played around the world, but what is it really that she's doing in the mid lane? We've seen AD carries move there before. Tristana, Lucian, they kind of kept the same build that they usually would in the bottom lane as I see a fight happening. And we see Kai'Sa getting a bit of damage with that long-range Void Seeker.
So the power of Kai'Sa is when she gets two items. Hang on a second, Shlatan looking for
There's
Malrang.
never a break in the action. What is this? 9 minutes in, it just keeps going. HiRit low. Hexagon is going to keep him away from the damage from Odoamne. Malrang puts down the Cataclysm. Now Odoamne is locked in the pit with Shlatan, who'll get the counter. 2 to the Lee, and perhaps Misfits have found a way.
It turns in Misfits' favor. This is the first time they win out in a 2v2 topside, and Shlatan gets 2 kills for himself. It's a little bit awkward at the start when the kick kind of buffered onto Malrang's EQ, but they got the job done nonetheless, and that's a big play for Misfits.
It certainly is. The thing that hurts Odoamne in this exchange is his cooldowns. They focus Malrang initially, the good kick separates him, but a good ultimate from HiRit actually mitigates a lot of damage.
Larssen's just dead.
He's
2
dead.
chains, 1 more auto.
He can't get it off. Vetheo gets a solo kill in mid. They win topside. They're winning mid. Misfits are alive.
This is very much what Misfits needed to find in the early game. A huge play from Shlatan. Vetheo gets himself now 2 kills after finding a solo pick onto Larssen. And now we may finally see the Vetheo pop-off that we have been promised.
They're going to get Dragon as well. Neon could force them out and just take this Drake. Trymbi might die or lose his flash.
Yeah, Mersa flashes for the chase. No way for Trymbi to get out of that one. Rooted into the knockup from the Rakan. And Comp and Trymbi a little bit over-eager to start up their Dragon.
We're starting to see cracks in the armor for Rogue, and Misfits is more than happy to punish that. They punish in the mid lane, they punish in the bot lane, and Rogue are slowly starting to fall apart in this early game.
So let's look at this solo kill again. Vetheo has vision of Larssen, gets level 8, sees him moving mid, so he knows exactly where he will be and where to hit the spells. I guess he kind of Q, W, lands the E as well. Second chain will probably follow up. And then he goes for the auto Q, and Larssen here is spamming his ult. He's got the stack, he just needs to get the shield, but he's rooted for too long, so he can't get the shield and live. And Larsen's, yeah, LeBlanc's balanced, guys. That's exactly what he just
said. He was indeed. Chain CC'd, which is funny for 2 reasons. Now, Larssen...
got it! Good one, mate! God, casting with many Vedius and experience.
Okay, so what does that mean for the map state? Well, Misfits do find themselves with an ever so slight gold lead, and the Herald is up. Pings are coming down right now from Rogue, saying that they could be in the top side river, but Shlatan is on the bot side of the map. Right now, Misfits don't look like they're going to make a beeline towards it. A number of resets are coming out from Rogue, and with Neon and Mersa still showing on the bot side, this actually gives a window for Rogue to move towards that objective. You can already see Trymbi and Malrang making a beeline towards it. They know it's going to be a while before Misfits can respond, so it's likely that Rogue will be first on the objective.
Yeah, the problem they have is mid push though, so Vetheo can push these waves in and hover his jungler every time. So now we can see Malrang can't walk in, and Rogue need to group up. Larssen's basing right now. I wonder if he has the mana immune in base. He's going to TP back, but Misfits have started the Herald.
Trymbi already level 6 though, and Mersa's still only 5. So even though he joins this fight, he does not have that quickness ultimate. However, Misfits have a numbers advantage. You see Odoamne staying top, Comp staying in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Neon moved towards mid after that bot wave got pushed in. This is the first time in the series Misfits have 3 pushing lanes. HiRit can push and move first. Vetheo the same, and so can Neon. They will secure themselves the first Herald. They have a gold lead. They've got the first Dragon as well, so they just need to slowly start to snowball this. Malrang giving up so many creeps to make sure his team is ahead is now really, really far behind and can't offer much damage support in these fights. He's just an engaged tool.
Of course, Comp will be able to get himself 3 solo plates off the back of this, and Trymbi will time his arrival perfectly. So, in terms of overall gold value, it should be even once Misfits drop that Herald down. The question is, how much of the map will they end up opening as... Ooh, a huge trade from Odoamne.
Yeah, Odoamne already has Eclipse here. HiRit just sitting on the half-bound axe, going to get forced away under the tower. Odoamne decides against the accelerated shock blast.
That might be a tower, though. Like, that was a very good trade. HiRit does, of course, still have the teleport, so he could just invest that back, and Odoamne deciding not to overcommit.
Maybe action in bot as well. Shlatan's here for the dive.
No vision for Rogue. Comp kicked back straight into the waiting arms of Misfits. Trymbi tries to flash away and will escape to live another day. And now Misfits can look for this bot side tower.
Yeah, they have Herald as well. Here it's looking for Odo.
Hexagon made him an option. He dodges away. What the? That's a lot of damage going out from the Precision Protocol. Q2 swipes away at Odoamne as the Vetheo is put down in the bottom lane. That will charge in. Gold given over to Misfits and a 2,500 gold lead for them now.
Misfits have woken up. They're finally alive in this series. They're winning every single lane. They're getting solo kills, 2v2 kills. Heralds onto towers. Plates are going in their favor. And Rogue are slowly starting to fall behind. They have a good poke comp. They have decent wave clear. But Misfits are in the driver's seat.
And it's crazy how very quickly the momentum shifted the moment that Misfits won that 2v2 in top lane. Because, oh, hang on, here comes the Hex Flash.
Trymbi looking for Vetheo, does still have the ability to dash away from this. Chains coming out, Shlatan on the chase as well. Dredgeline will get Trymbi to safety.
But what I was saying was that the momentum shift was so apparent. The moment that Shlatan and HiRit actually won that 2 versus 2, Vetheo then gets a solo kill, they get a kill around the Drake, and then they're just being proactive everywhere on the map, while Malrang is not actually successfully shutting down these plays. Misfits is being allowed to be proactive and making it work.
HiRit just got a full tower.
Yep.
There was at least, I think, 4 or 5 plates on that thing, and he just got the entire tower in one sitting. He's level 11, Odoamne's level 9. Maybe he levels up after catching this wave. Look at the gold difference, 1,000 in the favor of HiRit after that kill. And he TP'd in, I believe, to the wave, or to the tower, sorry, and had finished Triforce as he engaged, and Odoamne had no flash, so Odo had no chance whatsoever. So Misfits, mid-push, they have a winning side lane, they have a good 1-3-1. Xayah can't really catch these side lanes offensively, so yeah, Misfits just dominate the whole map right now.
They certainly are, and it was better late than never, as they often say. Of course, they can still turn this series around. It is a best of 5. Well, they are looking themselves 2-0 down. Hook goes wide. Oh, good knockup.
Yeah, Shlatan going in here as well, but the chase is on. Kick away. Depth charge going to come out as well, and Larssen's putting the damage down. Trymbi low. Mersa will be able to get away, but the Cataclysm locks him up, and that's 2 quick kills over the Rogue.
Yeah, look at the side lanes right now. Misfits trying to push out bot and top. Why are they looking for a play mid? Rogue are giving up both of those side pushes to find something mid, and they just handed it to them on a silver platter. I mean, 2 kills to Rogue. Now they can catch these side waves very, very safely, and they can defend their mid tower. So yes, Misfits still have the push, but small mistake there on the side of the jungle support.
Misfits need to not get overconfident in the position that they find themselves. Getting that first win on the board is massive for the momentum. And their execution is much cleaner than what we've seen from them so far this series. HiRit with his control over the side lane. We need to see that return from Misfits to attack those side lanes.
Yeah, Trymbi's hooking in here because he sees both side laners. Odoamne is giving up top push to make sure this happens, and Misfits, yeah, Mersa just re-engaging there, a bit of a blunder. End up giving away 2 kills. Malrang, good decisiveness here, just flash engage. He knows something has to happen. There's the Xayah follow-up. And they stabilize the map. They're gonna lose their mid tower. Regardless, though.
Misfits still find themselves in the driver's seat. And they will secure the second dragon of the game. We now kind of look at Rogue being on the back foot. How do they turn this around? Well, of course, they do still have some strong scaling elements on their side. The question is, how do they answer a lot of this side lane threat? One way is to try and attack it.
Larssen almost dead there. The Q2 coming out from that Precision Protocol. Camille, of course, does true damage and does a lot of it.
True damage, smile.
And this is the lane that Misfits are putting resource, Rogue are putting resource in. They put 3 people there to try and stop HiRit from being able to catch the wave, to try to look for a tier 1. Misfits are actually playing bot side. Odo can't even walk up and clear the wave. They're going to lose a tower, so winning out on both sides of the map here.
Misfits are snowballing beautifully right now. Their vision control is excellent. They have full control around the bot side of the map. They're allowing HiRit to just play top alone because there's no one on the side of Rogue that can stop him right now. And they're keeping mid pushed as well. So 3 pushing lanes, full control over Rogue's jungle. This snowball is looking clean so far.
Yeah, and they're capitalizing on the waiting game that Rogue is doing. They're waiting for Xayah to finish her second item. She needs Ludens, needs to get a W upgrade, but Larssen has ult to follow up on this engage.
Mersa is nearby. Larssen jumping in. As you say, HiRit could be locked up here. Cataclysm available for Malrang, and he will lock HiRit in there, but the Guardian, the shield, and everything else for HiRit keeps him alive.
Beautiful timing from HiRit on the ultimate to deny Malrang's ultimate damage. Managed to live in the end, and Mersa saves him.
Just great stuff from Misfits. It's a complete flip from what we've been seeing. We did not see Vetheo unlocked on the map so far this series. We did not see ganks working out. Every single early skirmish that we've seen so far has been falling short. and Rogue have been systematically shutting Misfits down. But this game, we finally see Misfits online, and they find themselves another pick.
Playing so well around vision control as well. Vetheo now 3-0. Shlatan looking for the kick. Odoamne back into the team. And it's a totally different look for Misfits than for Shlatan. Disappointing in the first 2 games, you have to say here. Once again, finding pick after pick after pick.
This is what Misfits look like when they have playmakers. When Vetheo has a playmaker and he can do things around the map, he's able to make picks on vision, he's able to team up with Shlatan. Misfits playing through mid here has unlocked everything.
And huge props to Shlatan. I said last game that I think that there was a big jungle diff so far this series. It felt like the Malrang had kind of downloaded Shlatan's playbook and was using it against him. But this time round, Shlatan was able to win out on the 2v2, was able to make a lot of his early ganks work, and has now really unlocked his side lanes to dominate the map.
This is the power of LeBlanc when you have no vision and nothing can really stop her barring the Nautilus ultimate. Vetheo got a solo kill. HiRit got a solo kill. They need to end the game cleanly here because Rogue, I don't really think they have a chance back into this game. They have good scaling when, I mean, Kai'Sa gets items, Jayce gets items, poke them down slowly, but if Misfits play over vision with this Rakan, LeBlanc, Larssen, they should be able to set up picks or at least chunk someone out before they walk up to the objective.
There's just so many different ways for Misfits to make picks, and because they've stacked those dragons as well, they have that soul as a timer. It's only Cloud, but does still give them another win condition. I will say I've been thinking about this a little bit, and I think I've worked out why Misfits look so much better this game than they have the other games. You know, in the regular season, they'd come back from huge gold deficits, right? That works in a best of 1. Now, in a best of 5, what's the biggest deficit you can come back from?
0-2.
0-2.
Smart
and Misfits are fighting
5 head
exactly, right?
That's why they pay you the big bucks, man.
So what happens if they get 2-2?
Well, they are coming back from the deficit across the series, so they would win.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
I really thought you were going to make some sort of ballet joke there, because that would be a very medic thing to do.
It would be a very medic thing to do, wouldn't it?
I mean, Misfits are playing pretty well. I think we can keep away from the dad jokes for the moment.
Where's Medic and what have you done with it? Now, let's have a look as Misfits set up towards the top side. They have the push in mid, they have a wave also behind them in the top lane, and they have the Herald to boot. They continue to steal away jungle camps, deny vision, and limit Rogue's options. The Baron spawns in 15 seconds, but Misfits only care about gaining as much as they can with the lead that they have.
I think Rogue's best bet here is to give this up and get a tier 1 bot for Odoamne and objective bounty, but as I say that, HiRit's going to TP down. Not even to give up the objective bounty whatsoever, but that does give Odoamne a window to TP top. Rogue have a window to look for a fight right now because HiRit can't join it. They need to TP in though.
Hook coming in, dead charge on the back line, and
okay, well, there goes the window.
There goes the window. Defenestrated Trymbi as he's thrown through it.
Oh, you took my joke. I was going to say, it looks like Trymbi was thrown out the window. I mean, it was a good idea. I think the principle was strong. Oh, yeah, that's LeBlanc. And that was kind of my concern around the Kai'Sa in this draft, especially against the LeBlanc. The fact that he did end up dying 1v1 also doesn't really bode in Rogue's favor when we look at the draft. But regardless, Misfits find themselves on the Baron now. They have the numbers advantage, and HiRit looks for another pick.
Locked up in the Hexagolden Maiden, the Cataclysm will not save him. HiRit with his second of the game. Baron as well for Misfits.
Giga Chad Malrang just EQs on top of a Camille that's eating on him. No, I will fight you back with my first strike. Chem Tank Anathemas ends up falling. Misfits, yeah, again, just so far ahead right now. They get themselves a Baron. They're going to get this objective bounty tower in bot. A little bit of gold in their pockets, but Odoamne might die for it. HiRit doesn't have ult, but they're going to look for him. He's not going to TP out just yet.
Quickness coming out. He started the recall, and Mersa finds him. There's the charm. There's the knock-up. HiRit's on his way. Flashes into the bush, but that bush was already warded by Mersa, so HiRit will take the kill.
He tried to flash preemptively, predicting HiRit would go for the immediate E-stun follow-up, but HiRit very smartly holds on to it. The flash then comes out, and he's able to find that pick, so that's another kill on the board for Misfits, and like, if we're being honest, this game's done.
Yeah.
We're now kind of looking ahead for Game 4. The momentum that Misfits can now use with this to ride forward into the rest of the series. My expectations were that Rogue would get themselves a clean 3-0, but Misfits showcasing that they can compete with the best. They deserve to be here, and they still got some gas left in the tank.
Yeah, and Rogue's mentality coming into this next game will be very interesting and will tell a story as to how their playoff journey will go. Because if they go into Game 4 now and they decide, actually, this blind pick Jayce, it's not working. The Camille's too strong, Odoamne died 1v1, we'll drop it and we won't do it, we'll pick it on 3 and ban 2. Or are they just going to just go for it anyway and have the confidence to run it back? So we'll see how Rogue decide to draft in Game 4.
I honestly think the Kai'Sa mid has been more worried than it is worth for Rogue this game. Didn't really have the impact that you'd want from a final pick. As we saw Vetheo continuing just to trade aggressively onto Larssen. Inhibitor tower down towards the bottom lane, gone. Baron remains for Misfits for the next short while as they continue to push in. Vetheo shepherding in that mid lane wave. And Rogue very much on the back foot here. No real defense for them to muster.
Yeah, not a lot of poke is hitting either. Mersa and HiRit are a little bit chunked, but that Kai'Sa W just missed. Of course, if it hits, the cooldown gets reduced dramatically. A little bit hits and...
yeah, well, that's a life bar reduced dramatically as followed up by Trymbi. That's what Vetheo can do when he gets ahead. And Misfits have taken Rogue to the cleaners in Game 3. We are only at 23 minutes in this game, and Rogue are back at their nexus. Misfits continue to push in. Mersa just shepherding here. Has the quickness, dives on to Larssen, and Larssen will try and get away, but already it's another kill over to Misfits. Here it takes one. Larssen jumps away, Vetheo dives forward, a double jump just to clean it up. 23 minutes in, the third inhibitor will fall.
Definitely will. They have a massive wave. There's only one tower left. Yeah, it's just such a dominant game from Misfits. Maybe Odo will get a kill on the back half of it, but now it's definitely looking forward to Game 4. Misfits will see how they use this momentum into that game, but I think Rogue have a lot to swap up in the draft. The Jayce blind pick, do they want to do it? Do they want to give away LeBlanc? And the most important thing to me is that jungle pick. Jarvan into Rakan, Camille, LeBlanc, Larssen. Ooh, it's unplayable.
All I'm going to say is, if the Jarvan was swapped for Volibear, does that 2v2 still go in the favor of Misfits? And then in the mid lane, if that's a Lissandra instead of a Kai'Sa, does Larssen also die 1v1, right? So, like, yes, there are definitely questions surrounding the draft. I think that Rogue, we heard from Freddy, where he said, we tried it in scrims, we think it could be good here, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. It felt very much like a, hey, we have a 2-game cushion.
Yeah.
We're going to use something we think could work, but we're not hanging our hat on this Kai'Sa.
But they've given Misfits hope.
And that is what I think
is dangerous in the best of 5, because Misfits are going to grab onto that and play their hearts out now.
And they also have a formula for success right now. You know, they know how to win and they know how to shut things down. And the answer, as we've been talking about a lot, was unlocking Vetheo, right? On LeBlanc, it was less about the fact that he was trying to kill mid and then play through him. It was the fact that he was joining in on the plays, something you were looking for a lot more in Game 1. And then in Game 2, we wanted to see them play through him, which they didn't do again. So Vetheo will again have our eyes on to see what he can do in the game.
Yeah, it really feels like we talk about 2 names the most. Vetheo and Malrang. We'll see how they play in Game 3 because Misfits bring it back in Game 4. Misfits have brought it back in Game 3 but are still down in the series after the break. We'll be dissecting their victory with Sjokz and the crew.
I'm gonna go take a break. Cool. Ooh.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.